Tonight on CTV, a look into how avian flu is impacting our community.
Autism Awareness Month has ended but carried many stories.
And how desired paths shape campus.
All this and more tonight on CTV.
Good evening, Rams. My name is Brandon Lennon.
And I'm Gabrielle Hibbitts.
The H5N1, also known as the avian flu, has been surging across the world and the United States, infecting more than 150 million birds as of April 28th, according to the Center for Disease Control. Though no person-to-person infection has been identified, the avian flu has caused 70 cases and 1 death in the United States. To answer questions about the avian flu, there was a seminar held on campus.
Avian influenza, it's a viral infection that historically affects migratory birds and poultry, and less commonly some mammals. The highly pathogenic avian influenza that will have very, very severe symptoms in birds, especially poultry.
In Colorado, there's been only 10 animal-related cases as officials continue to monitor the infection.
A bicyclist was killed in a crash with a motorcycle rider southwest of Fort Collins on Sunday afternoon, according to Colorado State Patrol. Troopers responded to a crash on County Road 38E near Milner Mountain Ranch Road at around 1 in the afternoon after a man on a motorcycle passed another motorcycle but couldn't navigate a left-hand curve and drifted onto the right shoulder. The motorcycle driver then hit the bicyclist, who was headed east. The cyclist died at the scene, and the motorcycle driver was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. The Colorado State Patrol is still investigating the crash. Anyone who witnessed the crash or who has additional information can call the CSP dispatch at 303-239-4501.
In Boulder, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, also known as the NIST, have unveiled their newest atomic clock in hopes of keeping track of time on an atomic scale. The clock, consisting of a cesium fountain that allows atoms to flow in a state similar to that of a flowing fountain, the clocks assisted in calculating the Coordinated Universal Time, also known as the UTC, and broadcast the time on a frequency from a radio station located in Fort Collins. The new atomic clock, dubbed the NIST F4, will be joining its counterpart NIST F3 after it is done testing and undergone further evaluation.
4 girls were killed in central Illinois when a vehicle struck a school camp program on Monday afternoon, according to authorities. Sangamon County Coroner Jim Allman identified the girls as Riley Britton, Ainsley Johnson, Alma Booner Kemp, and Catherine Corley. All 4 girls were pronounced dead at the scene, and 6 others were taken to the hospital with serious injuries, according to the coroner's office. While the cause of the crash remains under investigation, police say it did not appear to be a targeted attack. The driver, identified by authorities as Marianne Atkers, is not in custody and was subjected to toxicology tests, which are still pending.
On Wednesday, throughout the outskirts of Jerusalem in Israel, a wildfire is burning and threatening property, cars, and people. With mobilized firefighters and a plea to Greece and Bulgaria to help with the inferno, the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu claiming that Italy and Croatia will be dispatching assistance. The fires happening on Israel's Memorial Day and causing cancellations for events on Independence Day, and there are claims that the fire was started intentionally, though no official evidence has been sourced to back these claims.
On Monday, the United States Navy claimed they have lost an FA Super Hornet fighter jet after making evasive maneuvers in the Red Sea. The jet, valued at around $60 million, went overboard after the aircraft carrier Harry S. Truman made a sharp turn to avoid an attack by the Houthis. The Navy claims that during the movement, the jet was being transported in the hangar, and the sudden shift caused the crew to lose control of the aircraft, leading to it rolling off the side and into the ocean. Officials say that the crew was able to move out of the way, and only 1 reported injury was separated from the jet loss. We are going to take a quick break, but stay tuned for your weather forecast from Lena Juhlin up next.
Living with someone you don't know on the other side of the wall is hard, especially if you don't know how to be a good roommate. The first thing that you'll want to do to be a good roommate is make sure that you always stay quiet. Be considerate of others when using common spaces and appliances.
Hey buddy, what you doing?
I'm just gonna need like 40 minutes. Be respectful of your roommate's privacy. Ugh, my bad. Finally, make sure that you clean up after yourself. Oh, fresh toothbrush.
Have you seen my toothbrush?
Follow these tips to get along with your roommates and your landlord.
Hi Rims, my name is Lena Juhlin, here to bring you this week's weather. For our current conditions, it's 53 degrees outside. Sunset was at 7:56 p.m. with 48% humidity and 10-mile-per-hour winds. The National Weather Service has issued a hazardous weather outlook for northeastern Colorado due to severe thunderstorms with potential for hail and heavy rainfall with potential for flash floods. Today's been another typical day in Colorado with that sporadic weather from sun in the morning to rain and wind in the evening. Across Colorado, you can see some of those cooler temperatures with rain and snow in some of the higher areas. Skies will be clear by tomorrow, though. For our overnight lows, along the I-25 corridor, you can expect those temperatures to be right around the 40s. Into the eastern plains, will be a bit cooler with those temperatures in the mid to low 30s. Looking at our western slopes, it'll be a bit cooler with Craig and Gunny being at 24 and 25, and Grand Junction being a high of 42. For tomorrow's forecast, you can expect some sunny weather with a high of 68 and a low of 38. Sunset will be at 7:57 p.m. with 30% humidity and 7-mile-per-hour winds. Looking at next week, you can expect some of that warmer weather to continue through Saturday and Sunday, with those highs being 78 and 75. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday will drop down to be a bit cooler with thunderstorms on Monday and Tuesday and rain expected on Wednesday. Personally, I enjoy the weather. What do you guys think?
I'm a big weather enjoyer, especially when it's nice, but I also grew up in New Hampshire, so I really do like the snow. What about you?
I really only enjoy the weather when it's warm personally. I really don't like snow, cold weather. So I'm not a fan of the winter, so I'm excited that the weather is getting warmer and, you know, the trees are blooming and everything like that. Hopefully we won't have another snowstorm, fingers crossed. But I do say I don't really like how unpredictable the weather is here in Fort Collins. You know, sometimes it's raining and then the next day it's sunny, so you never really know what it's going to be like. But that's really all I have to say about the weather. So last month was Autism Awareness Month, a time dedicated to increasing understanding, acceptance, and support for those affected by autism spectrum disorder. I spoke with two members from CSU Student Disability Club about what Autism Awareness Month means to them and how we can better advocate for those in the autism community.
Autism Awareness Month is a time to share experiences and push for meaningful change. It is also a chance to spotlight the realities of the autistic community and challenge the misconceptions.
The narrative that I see the most commonly overrepresented is what autistic people look like, essentially. This notion that you can identify an autistic person on sight or something, or that they look and act a certain way. For instance, representations of autism in the media and even in like clinical research. Autism is extremely, extremely diverse. It's called a spectrum for a reason. It can take any formation you could imagine.
Alex Kristoff, Vice President of the Student Disability Club, says he would like to see more representation of autism on campus.
I would like to see them draw more attention to what autism awareness could be like, and how they could further educate themselves on what it could look like.
Autism Awareness Month also shines light on those within the autism community who are often overlooked, particularly autistic women who remain underrepresented in both research and society.
For them, usually looking at the stat lines for male diagnosis, but you never really see the female diagnosis, because it's either misdiagnosed, undiagnosed, or just completely just not seen at all.
Listening to autistic people tell their stories and making room for them to tell these very diverse and varied and nuanced stories is how we can kind of resolve that overrepresentation.
The month of April provided people with the opportunity to share stories and connect with others, fostering awareness while also promoting acceptance and advocacy for those affected by autism.
A new department is opening on campus soon, offering a consolidated area for financial aid, billing, housing applications, and more. The new hub will be located in the Laurie Student Center by the bookstore and the bagel shop, and will allow students to make appointments to talk with an advisor about multiple different topics. While in-person and phone services are not up yet, the website is with various links from scholarship information to a new student checklist. For more information, visit thehub.colostate.edu. We're going to go to a commercial right now, but stick around and we'll be right back.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion has become a controversial phrase over the past few years, with some believing that the practice of DEI is unfair and ought to be eradicated. However, some believe that DEI is a blessing that has allowed those originally kept out of education to seek higher opportunities. Now, President Donald Trump and his administration have set out to remove DEI in its entirety, starting with the universities across the country. This has led to millions going to the streets in protest. Protests led primarily by the students. In Unlisted, the removal of DEI in university, I traveled to protest around Colorado State University and Fort Collins to uncover the emotions students have about DEI and see just how much this program means to the people it affects the most. Here's just a peek at just a few of the voices who make their voices heard in Unlisted.
So, it's important. Like, I don't even know where to start. Like, we are part of this country, we're part of this community, and a lot of times our stories are not being told because we are not part of the dominant community.
We don't have much. Most of these programs that are in place are seen as a luxury. I don't think folks truly get that we are a minoritized community. We already don't have truly much.
It's an extremely emotional time. Now, rather than bringing all this extra research money to campus, now, in the blink of an eye, that money goes away. And now what happens? Normally, federal research money is the most stable money that you can have. And now, again, it's been flipped. Now it's a huge liability.
If I'm being completely honest, it's just an attack in the community. We need to continue telling the stories because they're important, and this erasure of history, it's evil. I don't understand, to be honest, why it's so wrong for us to tell our stories, for us to have that visibility. It's important.
How do we support them? How do we pay their stipends? How do we pay their tuition? All of that is up in the air. I honestly do not have an answer right now.
For more info on Unlisted, viewers can go to unlisted.blog to view federal updates, more previews, and more info about each protest. We're now going to take a short break, but stick around, Rams.
Touchdown! score, we're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Wait, why does my face look like that?
I'm playing with these new face filters.
Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine.
I'm gonna need that back.
No.
Kevin!
Welcome back from the break, Rams. I'm Robert Sides. Fort Collins offers a vast array of sidewalks, trails, and bike paths to connect every square inch of the city. But what happens when pedestrians and cyclists need to go off of the path? Thousands of Colonites walk or ride on the city's expansive network of sidewalks and bike paths as they go about their days. But when pedestrians and cyclists feel as the existing paths are restrictive, they may veer off of the road and end up paving their own. They're called desire paths. They form when people walk or ride on fields and lawns over and over, effectively eroding the grass. What's left are paths of dirt, marking the roads less traveled. CSU students find them particularly useful and indicative of the campus's infrastructural identity.
Seems like the quickest way in and out.
I mean, yeah, it's already created, so I just walk past it. It's easier than going around.
Beyond the students and citizens, Desire Paths serve a utilitarian service to the city's development, who are on the lookout to streamline the already established network of pathways.
As a city, those desire paths simply confirm where infrastructure is needed. So they're really helpful signals for us that either that's a highly desirable path between 2 points that, engineers didn't see when designing infrastructure, or that could be people's movements change over time.
Several generations of Colonites carve these desire paths, whose very existences represent the free will of the city. The paths mark how not only the citizens, but the city itself is willing to pave its own road ahead. Robert Sides, CTV. Desire paths mark several spots on the CSU campus. You may be able to spot one the next time you walk along CSU sidewalks. So Brandon and Gabby, have you noticed or taken advantage of a desire path recently?
It seems like you just took an advantage of a desired path like right now, honestly. I guess you could say. I'm saying right now, I think, yeah. Personally, I do walk on the grass a good amount. I'm always trying to round off those corners personally on my walk. What about you?
Yeah, there's one that I always take, and it always, helps me when I'm especially running late because it kind of cuts through the grass, but it goes between Eddy and Clark. I'm always walking that way for some reason, so that's the one desire path that comes to mind when I think about this, but I had no idea what they were called until now, so now I know what they're called, which is really interesting.
I didn't either until about a week ago when I Googled it.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that wraps up our final official news show of the semester.
But don't go far. Tune in next week as we say goodbye to our graduating seniors. Thank you to everyone who's watched and supported us all semester long.
We'll see you next year, but make sure to follow us on social media and any summer news for us like updates.